Introduce
All right.
episode 15 of the Bmoney Beastin Podcast. I'm here with Coach Khalil Shakur.
Woo.
Dude, you know, you have, before we even get into you and what you've done and all these things, I love your Instagram posts. Dude, I
Man,
love
I'm
them
glad.
all. I love them all. Man, they crack me up. Like every now and then I'll be like, really? And some of them give me ideas for things that I post later, right?
Yeah,
And
man.
and I feel like this community that is on, I think Instagram is like for wrestlers. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
TikTok's got its following or whatever, and in Facebook and whatever. Instagram is like where all the wrestlers are. If you
Yep.
wrestle or you sell shoes or whatever you do, you're
That's
on
right.
Instagram.
Yep.
And dude,
Get on it.
I'm telling you, man, like some of the stuff you see in a day, and it's almost like now you're one of them, and then you got like Spladle City's one of them, and
Oh, yeah.
there's a bunch that are like now the mainstays of like Instagram wrestling, whatever. And
Right.
dude, I just wanted to tell you that, man. I love I love some of your stuff, bro.
Man,
With
I
that
appreciate it.
with that being said, we've kind of known who each other were over time because we're both from Georgia.
Right.
Bryson grew up, wrestling USA tournaments in Georgia, and dude, like, and that kills me that he's a freshman. It makes me feel really old now.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, like I feel so old. But dude, the first time I'd ever heard of you, you were at Morris Fitness with Charlie, and I guess you're still training there, from what I can tell, right? And I
Oh,
guess you
yeah.
help coach and things at times.
That's right. Yep.
And
Still do it.
but from what I can tell, from start to finish, you have a very interesting story because you're wrestling in college right now.
That's right. I might be the oldest guy that's actually on a roster right now, like in college.
See,
Now, I'm,
that's
I'm
what
sure
I'm
I'm sure there's some other guys in their late 20s, but I might be the oldest currently.
well. The reason I asked that, what year did you graduate high school?
2013, so a little
Okay,
over 10 years ago.
so you put that in perspective, right?
Right.
That's so freaking cool, man. You're using all that eligibility, and dude, that is awesome. So let's get started here. We know that you're and follow him, Khalil Shakur, Coach Khalil. What's your Instagram at?
Yeah, so actually changed it. So my Instagram handle right now is Life You Wrestling Daddy.
Oh, that's
So yeah,
right,
if you type in yeah. See,
dude.
I like funny stuff, bro. Like it's got to be funny, or to me, you can't remember it. So
Right.
like, I always want funny stuff, man.
I love it, man. Let's go back to 2013. All right, and
Okay.
we're gonna start there. You're from the state of Georgia, correct?
Right. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
So
So
yeah,
tell us.
man. So I'll go ahead and rewind, man. I'll tell my whole story from like start to finish.
Let's do it,
Um,
dude, because it's very unique and interesting.
yeah, man. It's yeah. Definitely took the road less traveled to get to where I'm at. So I actually started doing. So I never wrestled until I was a sophomore in high school, and I was at Parkview.
Okay.
And at the time, there was a really good coaching staff there. But like my sophomore year, there was a coaching change. So one of our coaches left, and then we were basically left with no coach. Um, we got really, really fortunate, and we brought in Josh Porter. He was my first head coach. He's like my main man. He's still a mentor in my life today. And he basically took me from being interested in wrestling to really loving it. And it was from Josh Porter that I really got the love of the sport. Um, so fast forward a little while, I ended up winning a state title in 7A at 160 pounds. Um,
Can
and
I
then
stop
I got
you just for a
recruited.
second?
Yep.
Just for a second. So you started as a sophomore
Oh yeah,
and you won a state title.
that's right, my man.
I'm just bringing that up. That's
Yeah,
that's amazing. Continue.
yeah, man. So I really like to tell that part of the story because
Yeah.
a lot of times, especially in the sport of wrestling, man, you're gonna see all these guys who started at 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, and man, they really know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And then you get to high school and you're some freshman or you're a sophomore and you're just now getting into the field. It can seem like a task that's insurmountable. It really does. And looking at some of those guys who have already done a lot in the sport, it's really daunting. And it's not a great feeling, being the guy that's underfoot. But the one thing that I can tell you is that um, I always did two things. One, I was always a very much a student of the sport. I love to study wrestling. I probably watch 3 or 4 hours of wrestling every single day, on YouTube, wherever I can find it. I will watch some wrestling. I will read a wrestling book from the 1960s in black and white. My wife, she laughs at me all the time, dude. I'll be in bed and she'll be like, what language is that? And I'm watching something that's in Iranian, or it's in Persian, or it's in Russian. It's like some old training video. She's like, what the hell are you watching over there? But like, I'm over here
Yeah.
watching wrestling, dude, all night. So I'm very much a student of the sport. That helped significantly. The other part of it was believing in my coaches and actually listening to what that man told me to do. I remember 1,000 times, and that seems like such a trivial thing. It really does. But I can remember my Coach Porter, used to pick me and my little brother up in the morning, like before school. He would drive to our house, pick us up. We
Right.
would practice in the morning, have school, and during school I had a weight training period, so we always had weight training during the day. And then at the end of the day we would have our regular scheduled practice, and then after that I would stay and help with the youth practice. So there was a lot of wrestling involved with my day to day, like from start to finish. And then I would go home and watch wrestling. So it was like, I got more hours of wrestling in one day than most kids got in a week. They
Right.
only spent their 2 hours of practice every day. Dude, I spent 10 hours today involved with wrestling, right? So, for me, it was like a lot really fast. So that really helped out for me. Um, but yeah, man, just listening to what Coach Porter said, he always told me, we had a system in our room where we were doing certain things and we weren't doing other things. So in hindsight, I got really, really good at some basic things and I was able to apply them on everybody. Like I wasn't the best wrestler in my bracket my senior year. I wasn't. There were guys who were technically, they knew a lot more moves than me. They wrestled a lot more matches. They had more accolades. But I was able to beat those guys because I stuck to the plan and I did everything that my coaches said, and I didn't do everything that my coaches told me not to do. So like that was another part of it. Like I wasn't cutting a ton of weight. Like I wasn't, like I'm gonna tell you right now. At that point, I couldn't ride legs or scramble to save my life. So like we stayed out of those positions.
Right. Yeah.
We stuck to what we were good at, and it really paid off. And my coach had a vision for what he wanted for my career, and it worked out. It really did. It worked out for me, and it worked out for my little brother. And it worked out for other kids at Parkview. It worked out for Andrew Webb. He was a Fargo champ, a two-time state champ, super smart 4.0 student. It worked out for Harrison Schmid. He took third place, multiple time state placer. He wrestled at the Citadel. So like we had a lot of success with the little that we had, and it really paid off in dividends, man. So that's kind of like my origin story right there. Um, but I guess moving forward into Life University, right? So I get to Life, and as a freshman, dude, I'm gonna be real, man.
Wait,
I
wait. In
didn't.
2013, you went to Life?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I was a
okay.
freshman in the fall of 2013.
Okay, so he's been in college for a decade. All right, you're Van Wilder, dude.
That's right, bro. Yo, that's right. So it's kind of funny to think about that, man. It's been such a long time. Yo, so man, I go to Life, dude. I get bullied in the room, man. I didn't know how to wrestle my way out of a wet paper bag. Like realistically, like the college level was so much more advanced than what I was ready for. That you get this culture shock, and then you either sink or you swim. And man, and even there, I had some good coaches that really kept us afloat, and they helped us develop a lot. But moving into my junior year, so I was having a pretty good season. I was ranked in the country, top eight. I was doing very well, and then I got injured. So I got mat returned, posted bad, dislocated my elbow. Right,
Right.
so that ended that season completely. And then that summer, man, it's kind of funny how when one thing in life is keeping you focused and then you lose that thing, and so your focus is all over the place. And that's exactly what happened to me. I got injured, so I couldn't practice all the time. So what do you know? Boom, now I'm not going to class anymore. Right now I'm skipping classes, I'm skipping assignments. I'm thinking, okay, well, I can skip this, I can skip that and still get a B, and then your grade slides to a C. And you're like, damn, well, I didn't expect that. And then your grade slide to a D. And then, man, I started having problems with the coaching staff, and we just weren't seeing eye to eye, man. So one day I just said, dude, this is too much. And I was like, man, I'm out of here. I can't do it anymore. I don't want to keep pushing past an injury that I don't think I can recover from. Because at that point, I thought my wrestling career was actually over because of the injury. The doctors were telling me, hey, man, it's going to be probably 2 years before you can fully extend your arm and like stuff. They were telling me that I had these partial tears in my ligaments and that it might get worse over time. And man, it just looked really bleak. So all that spiraled into, man, it's funny, dude. I completely destroyed my life, man. I look back and I'm like, wow, I was a good student. I was a good athlete. I had a good girlfriend at the time. And man, I look forward 8 months, boom, destroyed all of it. Like dropped out of school, like moved, dude, everything.
Can I make
And
you
then,
feel better real
yep.
quick?
Oh yeah.
All right, there's two things you've said that I can completely relate to. Okay. The first one was when you were talking about your elbow, right? Now, this wasn't directly at me, but Bryson did the same thing
I remember that.
3 years ago.
Yep.
And it was the exact same motion. He was having a scramble in practice during Greco practice at Minion.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Hudson Chittum got in like this weird little scramble. And like he headlocked him or something, or he went to over under him or something. And they kind of got in a weird scramble and he went to post.
Yep.
And when he did, it got ran over, and he did the exact same thing. And how he felt in that moment was the same thing you were saying just now. You're like, okay, I can't practice. I can't do this. And then, I know we're going to get to a good ending of this story here shortly. And I want to say this because it can correlate for anybody that's dealing with an injury right now. So I think this is a good thing to talk about. He was out for 9 weeks, which was a lot better than we originally thought, right? They put like a bracket in his elbow. And he come back and won Southeast Regional that year.
Oh yeah, that's
right. So
it's
one of those things where it's like, as bleak and as bad as it could be, you just do the little things if you can do the little things. And as a kid, his age at the time, what was he, 13 or whatever?
Yeah.
12, whatever he was.
Yeah, it seems like the most horrible thing that could ever happen to you.
Yeah, but you also have a parent there to help guide you through it. In
that's nice. Yeah.
You were a grown man in college, so like it was hard. Sometimes it's hard to be self-motivating, right?
Very, very.
And the second thing that you said that I completely relate to, I didn't quite make it to college. I was a football player, and I was a pretty good football player. And I signed a college scholarship. I was going to wrestle at Cumberland College in Kentucky, or play football at Cumberland College in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, we know them real well.
Yeah, you see up there, I still consider that if I had an alma mater, that's who I love. I still keep track of their football program.
That's awesome.
And I went up and played 7-on-7 with them in the summer. I was kind of cocky because I was a fringe like D1 AA player, probably.
Gotcha.
Like I wasn't like a Division 1A guy. Like I wasn't going to play at Alabama, but I could have probably played at Chattanooga.
Right. Yeah. You could have competed. Oh yeah.
And my senior year, I've shrunk because I've got old. I think that happens. But like I was 6'3", I weighed 247, and I ran a 4.7. Right, I played out.
Shit, yeah.
So like, now I'm old. I got a belly. All that good stuff. Like at the time, like I was a little cocky. I'm like, hey man, and I was kind of disappointed that like I'm going to play here. I looked at it as like at the time. Now I look back at it now and I'm like, dude, that was a great opportunity that I didn't seize. Right. In the moment, I had all these different people in my ears, and I was like, oh, I could do this instead. And a cool part of this is Middle Tennessee State had recruited me to play college football, and their recruiting coordinator was Emmett Smith's running back coach at Florida. So I go from this, and he's telling me this story. I'm like, dude, I'm going to make it, right? Like, as a 17, 18-year-old kid, you're like, I'm going to make it to, well, my buddies, hey, these girls are coming over and we're going to smoke and whatever. Right. And you kind of go down
the distractions creep in, bro.
Yeah. And I made the bad decision. I just didn't go. Like I was supposed to be there on like August 13th, and I just didn't show up. Next thing you know, I got a pregnant girlfriend, and I'm trying to pay bills, and like, so dude, I completely understand where within a short amount of time you can go from being in a good situation to like a rough like spiral. So
That's
I
right,
didn't mean
man.
to cut you off and go long winded, but I just wanted
Oh,
you
you're
to know
good.
I relate to everything you just said.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, dude. And man, and I like to tell my story because like I'm not an exception. Like, man, this has happened to so many people. And
Yeah,
it's like, dude, I'm one of many, very many. I'm one of man, actually the this is normally what happens to people, you know.
yeah,
We normally don't make it all the way through. The guys who make it through are the exceptions.
they are.
Um, yeah, man. So moving on, man, I just, you get stuck in this, just like you said, man. You move on to like real life,
Yeah.
and I was just stuck, dude, like completely stuck.
So you left
Although,
college. What did
you
you do
know,
right after college?
yeah, man. So right after college, man, I got this like serving job where I like worked at a breakfast place, where like the money was just enough that I wasn't gonna starve, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And
Right.
like I jumped around with a bunch of jobs that the people who work them, they hate them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bro, yeah, worked at UPS for a little while, hated that.
Oh yeah. That was
Worked at
funny. I heard that. Yeah.
yeah, dude, packing boxes. I was like, dude, 2 o'clock in the morning. That was fucking winter. I was like, man,
Yeah.
it's too cold for me, bro. Like, I'm like, dude,
I'm with
I
you,
can't
man.
do this for 40 years, bud. Like,
Yeah.
so, man, moving forward, I kind of bounced around a little bit. Actually, what's funny is that I did, man, the day that I dropped out of school, this is one of the best decisions I actually ever made. So going back to Coach Charlie, right?
Hmm.
When I was in college, I was refing for money over the summers and like in the out season, in the off season. So I would see all the club. This is actually how I met you guys too. Just like in the wrestling circuit, refereeing and just being in the tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would see Coach Charlie every weekend, bro, and he was just the nicest guy. He
He
never,
is, dude.
man, I think I look back and he talked to me because the kid that I beat in the state finals was a kid from his club. So he had watched that match and he had kind of seen my career unfold a little bit, but I never once wrestled for him. I had only actually been to Morris Fitness one time for a camp ever, and I don't even think he even knew my name at that point.
Right.
Um, but so we didn't have like any kind of connection. But man, Coach Charlie really made me feel like, hey, dude, there are people in this sport that actually will care about you, man, regardless of your wins, regardless of your losses. There are really people who love you just because you're you. And that was a huge thing for me, man. That really kept me in the sport. And in moving forward, the day that I dropped out of school, literally, I got back. I remember I had that conversation with my coaches where I told them, hey, dude, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I went back to my dorm, cried. And then the minute stopped crying, I called Coach Charlie. And because one random time, he was like, hey, man, whenever you're done with school, like whenever you're done, just like hit me up and I'll have a job for you, like a coaching job. And I was like, yeah, no way, man. Let me call this guy. Called him. He's like, bro, pull up on Monday. Literally had a job that Monday. Now it was a part-time job, and
Right.
as you
Right.
know, man, wrestling doesn't pay the bills like that. So obviously,
No.
I'm doing my youth coaching on the side, and I'm also working this serving job, right? So I'm just still just kind of grind away and like find my purpose and try to figure out what I'm gonna do in my life. And I end up in a relationship. I have a great girlfriend now and a daughter. So now
Yeah.
I have a kid. And man,
I
I
see you
decided,
working out from time to time.
yeah, yeah, dude. And I'm just working out just to like stay in shape, man. Cause I want to look big and everything.
No,
I
I'm
want to
not.
look good at the
We know
beach.
you're working out. I was talking about
So,
your little baby girl, man. You see her
oh,
out there
dude.
pumping iron, dude.
Yeah, man, dude. I'm prepping her for the Olympics, baby. We get into that Olympics, dog. So I'm telling you right now.
I love it, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, dude. So, oh man, I remember, man. I just decided that I was gonna start competing again, right? So I went to the U.S. Open. Actually, sorry, it was the U.S. Nationals, and it was during. So you remember all the COVID lockdown stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
where, dude, the tournaments were like locked down, bro. We had to wear a mask everywhere, and like the referees were wearing those face covers, and like, dude, it
There
was
was
crazy. It was
states
like
that had
2020.
kids on the mats with masks on, like
Yes,
wrestling.
dog.
And I'm
Wasn't that wild?
like,
Like,
dude, like this makes no sense. If it's gonna, you
bro,
realize
you're
that
gonna smother yourself.
not just that. It's like if you're gonna catch fucking COVID, if you're gonna catch COVID, dude, like You're gonna catch it by touching other people.
I know, bro. I'm running a half on you. You think I'm not gonna get COVID?
Yeah,
Like, bro,
I
what?
just thought that was the dumbest thing. You seen
Yo,
pictures, the mask, and the boys are over there like, locked tied up in a collar tie. And I'm like, dude.
I know they're like breathing right in each other's faces. It's like,
Yeah.
man, what are we doing?
It was crazy, bro.
Yeah, dude. So I went to the COVID U.S. Nationals, and man, I got fucking hammered, bro. I got my ass whooped, and I can remember thinking, not only was I like technically, and my timing was off, everything was off, like technically, and then at the same time, my conditioning was horrible, bro. I got off the mat, I was puking, bro. I've never been so embarrassed at a tournament in my whole life, and I was lucky. I was so lucky, man, that I was alone, and I went up there like basically by myself, man. There's some coaches actually at actually, do you know Sean Haig, Coach Sean Haig? Big
Mm.
time Georgia legend. He was like one of the best ever from Georgia, actually. And Coach Sean
I don't think
Haig,
I've ever met him.
yeah, dude, man, big time legend. If you ever meet him, man, just sit down and talk to the guy, man. He'll rub off on you in a great way.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love being around him. But yeah, man, he coached me out there, and I can remember never being more embarrassed in my whole life to step off the mat. I was like, wow, dude, it's like pathetic for me. Like, and it really hurt my ego a lot. And so I remember, man, when I got back from that tournament, dude, I started grinding hard. I was like, I never want that feeling again, ever. I was like, I have to go compete again because my ego was hurt, but I got to do it more strategically. And man, I'm in the room like beating up high school kids, dude. I'm trying to get in shape. Like I didn't even have good drill partners or anything. Um, but fast forward, me and my wife went to Spartan Nationals. And then, so that was actually the first USA national tournament that I ever won.
Was that in
So I was
Florida?
like, boom. Excuse me?
Spartan Nationals down in Florida. Was it in Florida?
Yep, it was in Jacksonville that year.
Oh, okay. So that was that the same year. I'm trying to think because we went to Southeast Regional down there, and Spartan was running it. Was it that
Ye-
tournament?
no, but it was actually, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
You
actually.
were like in the Masters division, right? One of the
Yep,
Masters divisions. Okay.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
right.
Before you finish, I'll just tell you this because we're laughing with each other, and this is
Yeah,
great. We love this. We were standing waiting for our turn to go in Greco Day, and this man
yeah.
walks out, and he's like famous apparently. Flo talked about him. I forget his name, but he's wearing like he's about 80 years old. Okay, he's got like
Yes.
his hair's missing up here, and it's just
Bro,
going
he had
down.
the oxygen.
Well, that
Yeah.
was another part of it. This is the
Oh
better
no.
part. Okay, he's wrestling, and he's wrestling the coach that runs one of those clubs in Alabama. I forget his name, but he runs one of those clubs in Alabama, and I
Yeah.
recognize the guy, and he's in his 60s, right? And I'm like, I'm sitting there, me and Bryson and Dylan Villers and Jason Villers. I don't know if you know them, but they're from Chattanooga up at McCauley. And we're standing
Gotcha.
at this rail and we're just looking like, is this real life? And they like tie up, right? And, got like an over under. And that dude that Bama coach tosses that dude. And he lets out a son of a, and
Yeah.
my fucking back. And he
Oh
says, and they're
no.
trying to help him up. And he's like cussing at everybody. You and you
Dang,
and
dude.
you. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs. And they had, dude, when he hit, he probably hit harder than I probably hit in my entire life playing football. Right. And he's like, I thought he was dead, but he got up. And dude, that was the first time I even knew that you could wrestle a Masters division.
That's
But
right.
continue.
Yo, that's so funny. But yeah, man, those old guys, man, they get after it, dude.
Dude, they do.
Yeah, it's kind of it. I mean, I think it's funny because that's gonna be me when I'm like 80. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I think I still got it, bro. I'm gonna hit up that Masters division.
I still got it. Yeah, dude.
That's right.
Man, when Bryson started wrestling, he started wrestling when he was five or six, I don't know. And we started at a club in Chattanooga, right? Because we live right on the Tennessee line. So
Right.
really, over the years, all those USA Georgia tournaments were a pain in the ass because like we'd have to get up at like 3 a.m. to get
That's
down
right.
there. Like they were brutal. And the club we started in, there was about 12, 15 middle school age kids, right? Well, I'm at the time I'm a grown man, right? But there was about two kids that were like heavyweights, 215s, and I'd roll around with them, and I was like, oh, I can still do this, that's all right. I can
Right.
still do this. I tried that shit right now, dude. I'd implode. Like I would implode. There's no way. Like
Yeah, bro.
not happening. So like I'm never gonna, and nobody wants to see me in a singlet anymore anyway. So like,
Yeah.
let alone like Quantal, my partner. Do you know Quantal Langford?
I've heard the name before, I think.
If you get a chance, follow Quantal, the Langford Studio. He's actually the guy. I always do that backwards. All our characters back here, we create. He created those.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like he
Gotcha.
was a Southern Conference champion at Chattanooga back in the day. He wrestled at Cleveland High School up in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Oh,
And
okay.
2 years ago, he won the U.S. Open in freestyle.
Gotcha.
And so he's like really connected and things like that. He does all the Tyrants artwork, Tyrant wrestling.
Oh
He does
yeah. Yeah,
that,
yeah, we definitely know them.
So like Quantal, when you're getting at the Masters division, and he wrestled, I think his dude in his quarterfinals match. That guy needs to go back and sell insurance, man. Like he blast. I'll send you a clip later. I'll find it. I got it somewhere. He blast doubles this dude. Now he is an athlete, right? He's a big jacked up. He looks like Michael Jordan. Like
Oh,
he's
snap.
jacked up dude. And this guy walks out there looking like you ever seen what was that movie with what is his name? Damn it, the Wolf on Wall Street that had Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas in it, where he was like the money laundering guy and he wore like the suit and he's real skinny. All right, Wolf of Wall Street. All right. Leonardo DiCaprio was in Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
Okay. There's another movie. It's got Michael Douglas in. I'm getting them confused. But you know how like they had all those guys in the office, right? And you see those like guys that you would be like, okay, they sell insurance. This guy walked. He walked like a man that sold insurance, and he's at the U.S. Open. And Q, man, he blasted him, dude. Picked him up. It looked like a pit bull and a chihuahua in a fight.
Dang.
And dude, he dropped him. Dude, it's bad. I'll send it to you. It's pretty cool.
That's actually funny, bro. Yeah,
So
you never know what you're gonna run into in a Masters division, honestly.
Dude, right. So like that was an interesting thing. So I kind of learned about that over the last few years. So to see that you did that, tell me how that was. Like, I mean, you said you never know what you're going to run into. Like, what?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah, man. So, man, I wrestled. It's funny because even at Spartan, man, the guy that I wrestled in the finals in freestyle was an NC State guy. So he was a D1 guy. He was really tough. I wrestled in NAI All American in the finals in Greco. So it was like, dude, I wrestled some tough guys. Like, I'm not trying to take anything from Masters at all, man. There's some real guys in there. But yeah, man, it was fun because it kind of let me know, like, hey, man, you still got some juice left in you. So that's really why I went, man. I wanted to prove to myself that I kind of still had it. And it was great. I tell my wife all the time, like, she's the best coach ever. Like, when my wife is in the corner, bro, like, I fucking win. Like, it's great. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, maybe it's just like the pressure.
Man.
Yeah, dude. I can't lose in front of my family, you know?
Right, yeah.
Like, that's such a funny thing, man. Because I went to Spartan Nationals, did very well there. She was my coach. And then the next thing that I decided to, I was like, yo, we're going to give this U.S. Open another crack. And then this time, so, COVID stuff is over. It's back in Vegas. So, we went the Vegas tournament, and then, man, it was great, dude. I made the podium for the first time at the U.S. Open. And then, so I took 8th place, right? Which was, at that point, it was great for me. I was like, hey, man, I made it. I accomplished the goal.
That's good for anybody. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I'm still kind of in shock sometimes when I think about it. But did well. And then at that point, I was thinking about going back to school, but I wasn't really sure. The next year when I went, it was crazy because I actually trained so much harder for the second one. I got so much more work in. And what had actually happened was I went back to the U.S. Open and I took 8th again. And that is what drove me fucking crazy. Because obviously, I wanted to do a whole lot better because I'd put in so much more work this time. And man, I was training with these guys from overseas. Man, these guys are really, really good. One of them, his name is Dmitry. He used to live at the Russian Olympic Training Center, like his whole childhood. So, man, he's a freestyle savant, bro. Like, he is amazing at freestyle. And then another guy that came in, his name is Nikita Klimovich. he was like fifth in the world in Greco. So it's like, man, I had some really, really good training partners, and man, I got a lot better and I grew a lot as a student of the sport, but I still got the same results, man. And that is one of the real reasons why I decided to go back to Life to Wrestle. I got called up by Coach Omi probably 2 weeks after I got back from the U.S. Open the second time, and he was like, "Hey, man, you still got some eligibility. Do you want to use it?" And I was like, "Of course I do now.
Because he wasn't there
Absolutely."
when you left, right?
I'm sorry.
He wasn't there when you left, was he?
No, no, man. It was a whole completely different coaching staff. So, man, one thing I can say about Life University and especially Coach Omi, um, Coach Omi has taken a program that was not only were we not where we should have been, like not fully developed as a program and as a culture, but there was a lot of ugly things that happened. When I'm like, I might not go into that like today. There's a lot of
Right.
ugly stuff that happened in the program, and man, Coach Omi has really taken something that was broken and kind of a piece of shit and turned it into a diamond, bro.
Dude,
Um, there aren't words that I have on this planet that I can use to explain how focused he is, and just that he's a man of his word. When he says he's gonna do something, bro, he's gonna do it. And man, when he came to life and he was talking about, hey, I'm gonna turn this into a national championship program,
he did it.
I'm gonna be real, man. For the first couple of years, I was like, man, I don't know. And then he did that shit, and I was like, oh, I'm sold, 100%. I'm sold on this guy. And man, from the minute I met him, he's always been that way. He's always been a man of his word. And man, I really, really look up to him as a leader. And as a coach, man, I really, really, really want to emulate what he's done. Because he's such a student of the sport, and everything that he does is for a reason. It's like no wasted effort. We're not doing anything just to do it. Everything has a purpose. And another thing that I really like about him, I love that, he's tight with his faith. Like
That's a
that's a
great
big thing for me.
yeah.
I'm not even Christian, but man, I love people who are like servants of God, man. Like there's just an aura around people who have that culture, who grew up a certain way. It's like um a I didn't do it, God did it for me mentality. And I
Yeah.
really like that. And for me, that's always been the key for my success was, dude, it's not on me, dude. It's always been my coaches that pushed me to get to where I'm at. It's always been my parents that took care of me to get to where I'm at. It's always been God that blessed me and he kept me healthy and he gave me, the athleticism that I have and he gave me the drive that I have. It's not really on us so much, it's mainly on God. And I love that you can tell for him he puts in the work and then he just surrenders it to God because he's like, if we do the right things, then we're gonna get blessed. And man, I just love that, man. I love the culture of the program. Some people, at Life University, dude, we have like over 100 guys on the team. It's like being a part of Alabama football, bro. And
That's
it's
awesome. I
yeah,
didn't know.
man. Yeah, dude. Like we have more guys on the team than I think probably any other team in the country, period, regardless of division. So in the room, there is an insane amount of competition. Everything is a competition when you have 10 guys fighting for the same weight class.
Oh
and then
yeah.
and then half of those guys are all Americans from another school. So it's like,
Yeah,
man,
dude.
yeah, so the competition in there is insane. And he tells everyone off rip, like, "Hey, man, you're not gonna come out of here fresh out of high school and freaking be the guy here. Probably not. Like that's probably not gonna happen, man. You like, he tells people straight up, dude. If you come here, you're gonna be walking through the fire. Like it ain't gonna be easy ever. You're never gonna get gifted the singlet. Like you might not even wear the singlet, dude. If you don't put in the time and do the right things, there are guys on the team that probably will never put on a Life University singlet, bro. And although that's unfortunate for them, what I can say about the program is that what it does give you is the mentality to push through something that's insanely difficult. And that was another reason why I went back because I knew it was going to be hard, bro. Like I knew that going back in there was an All-American at every weight class that I could have possibly thought of going to. So it's like, bro, you're not just gonna hop back in there and start, but you're gonna have to beat an All-American to get on that team. So going back was very interesting, man. There was like it was kind of a period, where I doubted. I'm gonna be real, I kind of still doubt it, but there was a period where I kind of doubted if I was ready to take back on that responsibility. Like part of the reason why I dropped out in the first place was because I started skipping class and I started skipping stuff, and it was like that just turns into the snowball effect of where you never get caught up and you're never on time for anything. And dude, that was my number one like fear was, oh shit, dude, I'm gonna be skipping class and I'm gonna get kicked off the team. And what if I don't have good grades? And I'm like, what if I can't recover as fast as these guys who are coming straight out of high school? They're 18, 19, bro. They can just hop out of the bed and start running, dude. I can't do that. Dude, it takes me 35 minutes to warm up before the goddamn warm up. So it's like, man, I gotta go in early and stretch, bro. I gotta wake up in the morning and get a stretch in real quick because I know I got practice at 9. It's like a lot of extra shit that I have to do. But one thing I can tell you is that, man, it's been the best decision I've ever made in my life. And just like choosing to do the hard thing has been integral. And for me, in the last 5 or 6 years, like I've just had it's kind of funny. Like I try to tell people, like as a man, you're probably at your dumbest, like between the ages of like 18 and 25. Like you're probably gonna make the dumbest decisions in your life, about that time.
Absolutely, bro.
Yep.
Yes.
So like right in that time frame, you start doing stupid shit. You
Yep.
start thinking that you're invincible. You haven't really been checked enough by life to give you good lessons. But so that's when
Boom.
it happens. And so like moving out of that phase of my life where I'm like, hey man, I gotta get some things figured out. This was a good precursor to reeling everything back in, and getting focused and getting an actual goal. And like now that I've been in it for a little while and I've been back and I ain't gonna flex, bro. That first season being back was rough. Oh my God, man. The workouts were killing me, man. Recovery was bad. It was like, man, by Wednesday, I wasn't recovered from the Monday workout.
Oh
So, man,
wow.
I was just getting crushed, dude, like every day, man, by cats that are like 18, 19, man. They're pushing the pace on me. But the one thing I can say is that, man, the human body adapts. And so like now, I feel like I'm back in the stride. I actually had a really good season last year, man. I was supposed to go 174. So it's another funny thing, man, that I think about all the time, man. But I always tell my kids, don't cut weight. Like, don't cut weight. Just get better at wrestling. When you're the best guy in the room at wrestling, then maybe you can start thinking about cutting weight, right? But until you're the best guy in the room, technically, like, why are you even thinking about it? So for me, going back to school in my mind, I was like, yeah, dude, I can still make 74. I was like, I'm gonna cut down to 174 and like be competitive and cut weight all season. That was a horrible idea. Horrible. I mean, I showed up for the weight assessment around like 185, like 186. So I wasn't super heavy, but I was really low body fat at the time because I'd already cut some weight to get down to that. So my
Oh,
body weight was already low. I took the hydration test and then I didn't get the results back immediately. So I just forgot about it, right? We do this thing where we have like these, like on Saturdays, we'll have like a faux match day and you got to weigh in and like so your coaches are checking your weight like every time. So we make our descent down to the correct weight class over a couple weeks. And I remember I made 174 pounds twice, like 2 weeks in a row, and those were the worst 2 weeks ever. I felt horrible. um I couldn't get anything done in my personal life. I had to buy a sauna, bro. I literally, like, I'm sitting in my sunroom right now. um I have a portable sauna that's now in our storage closet.
we
So it
had
was
one.
hooked
Yeah.
up in my sunroom. Dude, I was sauning all night. Dude, my wife was like, man, this guy's freaking crazy, bro. He's gonna kill himself cutting weight.
Were you playing
Man, it was,
video games while you're sitting in it?
bro, I'm sitting here watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's where, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in there watching wrestling, man, suffering. Yo, so I made the weight, and then right before our first competition, probably, man, 4 or 5 days before, actually, it was more like 3 days before, um, our assistant coach pulled me to the side during practice. He was like, bro, you're wearing a lot of sweats right now. You didn't even certify for 74. And I was like, no way. He was like, yeah, dude, your lowest weight class was like 176. He was like, bro, you're not going to make 174. And I was like, oh, wow, what the hell? Like, I just spent the last 5 weeks shedding all this weight. And like, the minute I got out of practice, I was like, yeah, coach, I'll go 84, right? I'll bump up a weight class. Went to bed that night, talked to my wife. And I was like, what do you think I should do? And she was like, you should just wrestle your weight. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go 197. I was like, I'm going to go all the way
Wow.
up. I was like, dude, I'm going
You
to
bought
go up
two
as
weights.
heavy as possible.
Dude, all
Yeah,
right.
on like a couple of days' notice. And then I wrestled the Georgia Open at 197, and man, I felt amazing. And the one thing I can say, man, is that it made such a big difference in my performance when I wasn't cutting weight
Right.
that, man, yeah, I was just able to do more in matches, able to produce more. I'm older now, so I'm a lot stronger than honestly most of the competitors that I'm wrestling against, and that's been great too. I can keep my strength up. Um, in my career, I've never been like a pinner ever. I've always been like a takedown guy, like a takedown and cut him. Like
Yeah.
like my senior year of high school, I got almost 300 takedowns. Like I think I was like the number 3 in the state or something like that.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so you know what's his name? Dominic Bambanelli.
Yeah.
He actually just broke my takedown record like last year.
No, oh, no way.
Yeah. The coaches told me, they like let me know. They're like, yeah, somebody just beat your record. I was like, who? Like Dominic Bambanelli. I was like, ah, no way. So yeah.
He's a stud, man.
Yeah, that kid's nice, bro. But yeah, so I was always a takedown guy. But now at 97, dude, it is so much easier to pin guys. Oh my God. They get pinned so much easier. They gas hard, so it's like I got a little bit of extra conditioning now over some of the guys who are cutting from like 215, right? I'm
Right.
walking around at 200 pounds. So, dude, I'm not cutting any weight.
You want
I
to
get
practice?
out of practice, yeah, I'm 5 pounds under.
Yeah.
So man, that was truly a blessing last year. Truly. I pinned a lot of guys. I think I was 19 and 3, and one of them was an injury default. Actually, no, sorry, I was 19 and 4. So I lost to 2 of my teammates, actually, which is such a funny thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's like I'm telling you, man, our guys are the best guys in the country. So if I lose to anybody, I'll take some L's to my own teammates. So I
Yeah.
lost to 2 of my teammates, and then I lost to a guy from Grandview, who actually
Thank
did
you.
very, very well at nationals. So, and then I had an injury default where I tore my ACL. So there
Oh,
was
dude.
that.
Yeah.
I know.
When
So
did you get back from that? So,
so yeah, that happened in January. So that actually ended my season last year. Um, yeah, in
we're,
January, right in like the home stretch where things were about to start getting good. But
we're in October and you're already back on a mat.
oh yeah, baby.
So
Yeah,
when
man.
did you get cleared for that?
So I actually, man, so it was a partial tear in my ACL and my MCL. So what they told me was that it would be about 3 to like 4 months for like just recovery to getting back to exercise. But I'm gonna be real, man. I never really stopped exercising. I just didn't, dude. I kept lifting. I kept doing stuff. Like I probably couldn't like actually walk for about a week, and then for another maybe 4 or 5 weeks, like I had a pretty good limp. But dude, I was still working out. Like I mean, I was still doing cardio with my upper body, and I really think that helped reduce the recovery time by like significantly. Because
I tore
now
both
I'm
my knees growing up, both of
yeah,
them. And
dang.
dude, I've actually had 5 knee surgeries. In
Oh man.
so like, dude, you've probably seen me like walk into a wrestling gym and been like, he's kind of hobbling,
That's right, man.
dude. That there to this day, when I like squat down, my knees go pop, 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 pop,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, I'm
and
there too, bro.
dude, the whole missing time that's brutal because like my sophomore year, I started at defensive end, right, as a sophomore. And dude, when you were talking about you work so hard for something and it's taken away from you, like
Hmm.
I busted ass all summer. I was like, you know what? I am gonna play now. I'm not
Right.
waiting. Like I just watched our team the year before go 8-2, go to the playoffs. Like I went with them. I was just on the team, right? I was a
Yep.
JV kid, and I was there on the sideline at a playoff game, and we were playing Tucker. Thomas Brown was their running back that year. He played at Georgia and played for the Falcons for a while. Thomas
Oh wow.
Brown. And I remember seeing this, and I remember that summer I was like, dude, I'm gonna bust ass and I'm gonna play. And I started the first 4 games, and I played pretty well for a sophomore that was still a baby. I was a baby, man.
Yeah.
And, like I don't even think I had armpit hair yet, right? Like I was a and dude, like the fourth game, I just got in a weird situation and my knee went, and that was it. And I went to
Yep.
the sideline, and I was like, dude, I'm hurting. I don't know. And I was like, I could still play though, and I couldn't even stand up. And I was
Yep.
like, and so I had knee surgery, and I remember like, I still did stuff too during that like rehab period, but I did a lot of upper body and shit like that. So my legs I look like a skeleton, and my arms were all pumped up. I looked offset for a while, dude. I know that. So this is your last year, though, right? At Life, that your last year of eligibility. So to recap this, which is an amazing story, started wrestling as a sophomore in high school. By your senior year, you won a state championship in 7A in Georgia.
That's right.
Then you go to
Toughest
Life
division, baby.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we're in 2A. We're at Ringgold. We're in 2A. I guess that's the thing. When I was in high school at Ringgold, it was 4A, but apparently now it's 2A.
Oh wow, that's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, they've dropped a lot. Well, they built a new high school in the county, so it like split.
Oh yeah.
So like Heritage is in the middle of the county. They were 4A. I think they dropped 3A.
Yeah, and then actually, they were 4A when I was in high school too.
Yeah, Heritage. And then they split, and when they split, I think they dropped this year to 3A. But then Ringgold and Lakeview were 3A last year. They dropped to 2A.
Okay.
And I guess that's how that worked out. But
right,
dude, so you win this state championship. You go to Life University. You're there for what, about 2.5 years ish?
Yep, literally. Yep, 2.5.
And you're like, okay, I'm hurt. This sucks. I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah, peacing out.
See you later. So then you go get life experience.
Yep.
Which, thinking of, when you were telling me this, I was like, dude, this is like my life. He's saying my life, but with a different, dude, I had a chance to play college football, right? And I didn't want to do it. And I wanted to chase girls and do stupid stuff, which anybody that sees this, really think about your actions before you take them, because later in life, you're going to look back and say, dude, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Dude, when you were talking about you work jobs you didn't like or whatever, to this day, I'm involved in the cable industry, right? And I got my first real job. Okay. I ain't going to play college football. I have a pregnant girlfriend. I got to have money. So
right.
They don't die or whatever. So,
no, right. Got to provide now.
Yeah. So I got to do something. What do I do? And now I'm talking about Bryson too. She was pregnant with Bryson.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do here. So I'm sitting, and this is a crazy thing. Life's funny sometimes. I was drunk. You ever been drunk? Happened to me. And I was sitting
more than I'd like to admit.
Yeah. I was drinking Bacardi something at 2:00 on the afternoon on a Sunday. And I'm in a lawn chair in my buddy's driveway up in Chattanooga. And it's really hot outside, but we're just kind of listening to AC/DC on the radio and chilling, kind of whatever, just a Saturday.
Yeah.
And the bucket truck comes down the road, and he almost hits my ex's, Bryson's mama's car. And I don't know, I was, when you drink, sometimes you get a little red. So I sprinted at that guy, and I'm like, I don't know what are you doing about hitting my car? And the dude's like, calm down, sport. I was 18, right? And I don't know what possessed me to this day to say this. I said, dude, I don't know what it is you do, but I can do it better than you. And I don't know why I said that. But that man looked at me and smiled, and he gave me a job. And I worked for that guy building fiber for 2 years. And of course, throughout the years, I've done almost every job you can do in the cable industry. And actually now, I'm involved, my other gig, I'm involved with an e-learning company. We certify cable contractors. And you were talking about, how Omi, who I follow him too, he seems like an amazing guy, and I love the lucha.
He really is, bro. He's the man, bro, for real.
I kind of feel the same way with I don't live perfect. I try to treat people with respect, and I pray and things like that. I think God at 18 put me in a situation knowing that I'm 36, that, he's going to need this scenario to, raise his kids and, whatever. And I'm very thankful and blessed for it. I wouldn't change anything. I don't think even your story should be changed. I think it's amazing. I think it should be a movie at some point.
Well, thanks, man. Hey, man, I'll cast anybody for it. Bro.
Yeah, man. Dude, it's when you get to that and you get that life experience, right? And you were like, I'm doing jobs nobody likes, nobody hates. I remember climbing poles in the snowstorms, right? It's rough, right?
Yeah,
but
it is.
You kind of learn, you in life, life will beat your ass, right? We know this, right? It will. And to come out the other side of that, even myself, which I'm not bragging on me either because I'm nothing special.
Oh, dude, man, you're killing it, bro.
But come out the other side of that, right? And have something and be standing tall and still striving. Like that's what you did. Like you got through that. And when you said you graduated in 2013 and it's 2024 and you are a senior and you're still scrapping and you're still working hard and you're still chasing that, dude, that's amazing, right?
Man, I appreciate it, bro.
And it reminds me of like Kurt Warner, right? Like Kurt Warner was bagging groceries before he won a Super Bowl. And I see what you're like, dude, you're like, I want to win a national championship. And bro, I am rooting for you, man.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Dude, I am. And you mentioned Grandview. I want to kind of close up with this because we're talking about NAIA wrestling, right?
Oh yeah.
Grandview, it was funny because I made I used to, when I was starting to kind of build the following for Bmoney Beastin, I used to do like these did you know videos.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of had fun with them, but then again, I was like, man, I want to be more personal with people. Like this has nothing to do with like me or what I'm trying to accomplish here. You know, like something I don't talk about a lot. We've provided wrestling shoes to underprivileged kids in 37 states.
Wow, that's amazing, bro.
So like Bmoney Beastin ain't just a card game. Like it's kind of a lifestyle, right? Like, and we love the sport of wrestling, so we're like giving back to it any way we can. And like we've done gear packages for teams at cost, right? Like just trying to help them get off the ground. Like we're not trying to get rich here. We just enjoy what we're doing. I love the branding. Like I'm just proud of it. And but I made this video and I was researching because somebody had said to me like Grandview's like the standard in NAIA.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, okay, Grandview. So I started looking up Grandview because in NAIA they don't get the publicity like Division I does, obviously.
Right.
So you have to kind of look into that, which I'm a big fan of NAIA, everything. Like you can find players, man, that are studs.
Hey, man, I think we're the second toughest division, dude. I don't think D2 or D3 got anything for us, bro.
And I agree with that 100%. I think a D1 fringe guy or a D1 guy that can't make the grades, I don't think he goes D2 or D3. I think he goes NAIA.
That's right. The money's better. Opportunities are there.
I agree. So. And I was doing this video and I was researching it, and it's like, they've won 14 out of 15 national championships.
Yep.
And in 2021, which I knew that Life had won a national championship, but I didn't know because at the time I was like, is Life a D2 school? Because I never really looked into it, right? I never really thought about it. And the only time I've ever been there is for like the freestyle national team practices or whatever.
Yep.
And for me, that was a pain in the ass because we're driving from,
Bro, that's far.
Yeah.
That's a long 3-hour hike.
It's an hour and 40-ish, down there to you guys. And then, Evan Wingrove just graduated from Heritage over here in Ringgold, and he's wrestling at Ohio now. And the 2 years ago when we did all those, because he was on, I think Bryson was on like the 14U team, and we did all those practices, we would carpool down there and, just kind of shoot the shit or whatever. But dude, that was the only thing I knew about, Life University. And then I realized, dude, they're in NAIA school, and they snapped that Grandview streak.
That's right.
And I'm like,
you ain't getting 10 on us, buddy.
Dude, being from Georgia, and, I'm from Georgia. My son's from Georgia. You're from Georgia. Being from Georgia, that shows so much pride.
Yeah, man.
Dude, this is a southern state that snapped Iowa's streak.
That's right.
Hell yeah. And then this year when Caleb Henson won a national championship.
Ooh, man, didn't that feel good?
Bro,
just seeing him out there was crazy, dude.
Dude, we've been on dual teams like Pitts. Matt Pitts runs Grindhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And Bryson grew up with Pitts, like on all those Grindhouse teams.
Coach Pitts is the man.
Dude, he's awesome. And in closing, I'll tell you a great story between him and Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
But, dude, on those teams, we would always wrestle with Henson's brother. Right, on those elementary, middle school dual teams.
Right.
And I remember before he went to college, but even before he won Fargo, right? Like the year he won Fargo, everybody's like, dude, his brother's a freaking killer. Now, Georgia high school doesn't really get the publicity, right, that it probably should, right? Like you have to kind of be in the know. But, dude, we all kind of knew there was that guy, right? Like we knew he was coming. And I think he did it quicker than everybody expected. Like I expected him to be a national finalist or something, but I didn't think it was going to happen year 2.
As a sophomore, I know, dude. He was like, "Hey man, I'm ready. It's my time. Let's do this."
I posted a video today and I tagged him in it, and he shared it. And I was like, dude, he said, "When I win, I win."
That's
and
right.
Bro, half the battle of anything you do in life is believing that you can.
Yep.
Regardless what it is. Like, I created this brand that we have that we're talking on with no idea what it was. Right. My son's like, hey, you remember I had that gamer tag when I was 5 years old and it was pretty cool and we wrote it down? He's like, hey, man, we need to like do something with that. Cool, let's do it. And it went from the idea of we're going to do like a champion brand type thing to shift to we're going to do wrestling shoes, which we still kindly do. And then we're gonna do gear. No, yeah, we'll do gear. No, now we're gonna build a card game. Like, what the hell? Like, where did that come from? And so, like, it's just shifted and shifted. So, like, it's amazing that, the state of Georgia and the South, if you look, dude, there's some killers coming up into high school, man, the next couple of years. Sure. Dude, like, the state of Georgia and the South in general, man, is getting a lot better, right?
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah.
And in the next 10 years, man, you're going to start seeing, I don't think, and I'm calling this, and I hope somebody steals this. And
I know, right? Somebody clip this up.
In like 5 years or 10 years, Uriah Mills is going to win a national championship in college.
Oh, man, you know what, man? I'm going to go on record. So I've told him this personally, but I've never said it out loud, especially not for his brothers to hear. But let me tell you who's going to be the best. It's going to be Antonio. Now, I know what it looks like right now. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Antonio. He's going to be the guy. Now, Uriah might win his national titles, but it'll be Antonio that we're watching in the Olympics. I guarantee it.
That's an awesome. I
know that's a long shot, but I guarantee it.
Let somebody clip this here in a few years.
I know somebody clip this up real quick.
Yeah, dude.
It'd be great when he wins it.
When he was in third grade, we were at Deep South duels, right? Like in third grade, and that's the first time I ever seen Uriah. And he was on one of Charlie's Morris fitness teams.
Oh yeah.
And dude, he was already a little stud. But bro, I remember I'm standing on the back side of this mat, and man, him and this kid like get into it. He's like ready to box. He's like pissed off, and I'm like, dang, look at that kid.
That's
and
insane,
like,
bro.
and since that day, I'm like, you started seeing him kind of come up.
Yep.
And bro, like, he's the sweetest kid. You sit and talk to him.
Yep.
But he is a stone cold killer, and he's such an athlete. He is so athletic. Like, some things he can do are just like, wow.
Yeah,
right?
He's got a really good wrestling IQ.
Oh, dude, he's
really
amazing.
good.
And I love that kid. I'm a big fan, man. And I'm a big fan, like freaking Roundtree, dude. What he's doing over there, man. Like,
Sammy's the man, bro.
He has done something really special up there. And all the let's use this kid, Tanner Hunt. You remember Tanner Hunt?
Yeah, man.
Tanner Hunt.
Yo, I love his dad. His dad
is
my buddy,
funny,
bro.
Dude, he's wild, man.
Every tournament, I gotta find him, dog.
Oh yeah, I love Johnny Hunt, man. I'll tell 2 stories and we'll close up. We've had this has been the greatest episode I've done. I've had so much fun just hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, man, this is awesome, bro. I love it. I appreciate you inviting me on.
I just want to pass these 2 along since you brought up Johnny Hunt. I'll tell you this. Yeah. We were Sammy coached the 14U team 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And we went, they rode the bus up there, but we went up there and hung out and whatever. Well, we wrestled Utah, and the weight above before, I think Bryson wrestled 92 and Tanner wrestled 97. Okay.
Yeah.
And neither one of them were supposed to win. All right. Like, they weren't on paper. They're not supposed to win.
Right.
And Utah was a good, they had a good freestyle team. Right. And Bryson pulls some Houdini shit that you'll never see again. Okay. The kid blasts him and lifts him in the air. And he's winning by a point. And there's like 40 seconds left. And somehow he flips, and I don't know what he did. But like, he scores off of it, and he ends up beating the kid like 7-4. All right. And so it's like, wow, we're still in this. Like, now we're down, like, I think we're down 5. So we have to have a pin to win the duel.
Yeah.
And Tanner goes up there and pins that kid the next match.
That's right, man.
And Johnny Hunt runs up and he goes, "They wanted it! They wanted it!" He's intense, dude. He's like, "They wanted it!"
Yo.
So, like, dude,
and that goes just like
here.
him,
because we were on minion teams with Tanner and Johnny was coaching him years ago. Like, dude, he's a wild guy.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I
I
brought up
love
Tanner,
his energy, man.
dude, he's wild, bro. The reason I brought up Tanner, though, is, early on, he kind of slowly developed. But, dude, he's a freaking killer now. Like, he's a killer. Like, there's something to be said for putting your kid in the fire. Whether you win or you lose, like, dude, I told somebody on another episode of the podcast, I was like, I think Bryson and James Severs has the most state runner-ups in Georgia history, like, for youth, right? I'm almost convinced at this point.
That's so funny.
And, in 10 years, like, and, look at James. James is a killer.
Yeah. That thing done worked out for Severs, man.
He only won one, maybe two in the youth level. Look at him now, dude. Like,
yes.
So there's
one of the best kids in the country now.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And so, in closing here, I'm really proud of you, man, how you've got through this whole thing. This is awesome. It's been great to hear. To close, though, since you're so tight with Charlie.
Yeah.
You weren't there at this point. Charlie he may have had Sammy at that point as his, because at one time Sammy was there with him.
Oh, actually, yeah. So if Sammy was there, I was there part-time as well. I just wasn't.
Okay. You might have been there when it happened.
Yeah.
And it's one story, and there's two of them here, and we can add in the Johnny Hunt part at the end. Matt Pitts brought one in 2000. I want to say, I forget what year it was, 18, 19. I don't know. Grindhouse won the state duels in middle school and in elementary, right?
I remember that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Our elementary team actually had Henson's brother on it, right? And that was a wild tournament too, because like we wrestled Roundtree before they kind of got dominant, but they were still pretty good.
Right.
And like, he was down like 8-0 and he got a pin, right? Henson's brother. Like, and it was like a big moment or whatever. Well, anyway, we make the finals, right? In the elementary division. So it's Grindhouse and Morris Fitness. And, we were at that school in Gainesville that has that big walk around the top of the gym.
Yep.
And Pitts is sitting, Matt's pretty calm unless you piss him off, right? Like, he's a calm dude. And he's sitting on the wall and he's just kind of talking, whatever. And Charlie's up on the top and he's screaming at Matt, "You don't want this smoke! You don't want this smoke!" And I remember sitting there, Matt, he don't even break anything. He just smiles and waves at him, and he goes, "You don't want this smoke." And granted, we had a really good duel. I don't think we beat him by much, like 3 or something or whatever it was. But like, dude, I remember that moment being so funny because like when it's over, in the moment, Charlie is so good at like promoting, right?
Yes, bro. He's got a certain kind of energy, man. That's you can't find that everywhere.
No, dude, he just has a way about him where he can just you want to gravitate to him.
Yep.
And then once you know him, which I've known him now for years, and every time I see him, I go give him a hug, tell him I love him, man, like he's a great guy. But if you didn't know him, you'd be like, this guy's freaking crazy.
That's right.
But but it kind of gravitates you to him, right? To close out this, because I always thought that was pretty funny. You don't want this smoke. But to close this out here. That same middle school duel, Grindhouse was losing. I think it was to level up. Or technique, maybe technique. But they were down by 17 points with 3 matches. Okay, Oof. What does that mean?
Everybody got a pin.
You gotta have 3 pins.
Yep, everybody got a pin.
And they're already celebrating. It's over, right? It's over. And the first match goes down. Grindhouse gets a pin.
Yeah.
Second match goes down, Grindhouse gets a pin.
Yeah, then you're like,
third match goes down. It's like as time's expiring, they like hit the match. Like it was down to the absolute like wire. Yeah. And Johnny Hunt lost his mind. I remember seeing the clip because like Steve Hamilton was helping Matt, back in the day.
Yeah.
And they were like going nuts because Stryker Woods was on that team. He just won state last year at Dalton.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, that'll never happen again, ever.
That's
but it was just like everybody, it almost ended in a brawl, right? But dude, we got to do this again, man. I really enjoy talking to you. Dude, I think I love what you're doing on social media.
Man, thank you.
You have a Muggsy vibe.
Yeah, man, that dude's been killing the Instagram game, bro.
And
Like,
you know,
man,
it's
he's
funny,
one of those guys, man. I look up to him. I'm trying to get like him, man.
dude. He started that off of a really ridiculous reel too, though. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where he ankle picked like a 50-year-old man,
Yep. Yep.
and
And man, it just snowballed into something great, man. And now, dude, he's putting out a lot of good content. And you know what I really like about him? I like that he's not the best wrestler ever. You know, he's not Jordan Burroughs level. He's
right,
so relatable, man. So
yeah,
relatable.
because most
Like,
people are not that guy.
right. Right. Most of us are not Olympic champs, bro. We're
No,
not Fargo champs. We're not the D1 Penn State guys. Most of us are
no,
just not that. So, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't mean that you can't be a guy in your space, though. It doesn't mean that you can't give back to the sport, that you can't be a big deal in the sport, you know. And I really like that about him, bro, because now he is a big deal in the sport. And I know people who don't even freaking wrestle that know who Muggsy Bulljunk is. They don't fucking know who Jordan Burroughs is, but they know who Muggsy is. And I'm
and you
like,
know, I
yep.
think that bothers like a lot of D1 guys.
Oh, of course it does. Of
I
course
think
it
it
does. It
does.
hurts their egos a bit. But at the same time, dude, if they were as exciting and if they had provided enough value in their videos too, they would be like Muggsy. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you don't hate, you know, you got to recreate. So don't
Yeah,
hate on him. Just do what he's doing.
dude,
So,
I think this weekend, actually tomorrow, right? Him and Caden Henschel goes down tomorrow.
yeah, dude, that shit going to be bigger than damn Olympic team trial finals.
Dude, it is, but
Yeah.
by the time we post this podcast, it'll already have happened. Okay,
Right. That's
I
right.
will add in when I clip this
Who's the winner?
who wins, but right now we don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
and everybody says Caden Henschel's going to win. Granted, he's been constantly in a room for the past several years.
Right.
Muggsy's an athlete, though.
Yeah, you
Dude.
never know, man. You never
Like,
know, dude.
it could be a fluky scramble where he sticks him, and
Yep.
it'll never happen again ever.
Yep.
But like, dude, I'm telling you, you've seen kids that probably have never got pinned in their life get in a funky situation, get stuck, right?
That's right, man. That's
It
right.
could
It could happen to anyone.
If that happens tomorrow night to Caden Henschel, I don't think it hurts Caden Henschel at all, right? Like at all.
Nah.
But like, I think the internet will explode.
Yes.
It
I
will
definitely agree.
because nobody thinks it's going to happen.
Right.
Like, if there was betting odds, it'd be like 800 to 1.
Oh, dude, it'd be crazy. I'd be putting some money up, bro. Like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So that's going to be really interesting. And I think, maybe we get together sometime. And I think, you're very entrepreneurial yourself, right?
Very.
I've always said, I think, with 7 classifications in Georgia, I even talked to SE Wrestle about it one time. What if, after the season, we did like a
who's number one for real?
For Georgia, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that, I haven't ever been able to talk like SE Wrestle's like, yeah, well, this you're talking about, how quick could we do it? We've kind of had discussions and I mean, it was just theoretical type discussions, right?
Right.
But like somebody's got to, GHSA, we can say this and I don't care if they like it or not. GHSA,
They don't like any of the shit we say, so it's all good.
They suck. They
Yeah,
suck.
they do.
They suck. I'm
They
just
suck
saying,
and they don't care either, so it's all good.
this is my podcast. I can
Yeah.
say whatever I want, and
That's
GHS
right.
is garbage. All right,
Yeah, I'm
take
with you, bud.
an eight-man bracket, and you drag it out for 3 days to take money away
Right.
from parents.
Like, what is
come on,
that?
dude. You got 6-year-old kids wrestling 3 of those in one day. So come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But,
I know.
the GHSA thing with the classifications, like I really think, and even if you don't win it, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't hurt your like recruiting stock or anything like that. It should just be a thing that would be a big event for the state.
Right.
Of
Like a showcase for wrestling more than even anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if you'd see the 1-8, like, you see SE Wrestle write about it a lot where it's like, Cohen Hargrove and Noah Brown are both in single A this year. They both won 6, right?
That's
so,
right.
Like, they can clash at some point, and you got all these hypothetical matchups with the realignment. But dude, if you just every year, you wouldn't even need to talk about that. At the end of the year, we're going to have the 7 state champs or whatever, 6, 7 state champs, and the way you break it up is whoever had the most dominant win in the finals, that's your 1 seed, and then you start looking down, and then you break it up that way. I think that's the fairest way to do it based on results. and you seed the top 4, and then you just blind draw the other, 3 or 4, whatever.
Right.
And maybe there's a guy that lost 2-1. Maybe you throw in a second place guy, to make it even
to fill
bracket.
out. Yep.
And I think it could be something that if you put it on like Rockfin, or you live streamed it or something, it would blow up. And then you'd start having clips of these kids that would be on a national scale too.
Right. Not to mention that would make those kids look better because you're wrestling better competition.
Right.
It's like, dude, you're not just beating up a kid that is his first year. Colleges don't want to see that shit.
No,
they want to
don't.
see you wrestle someone that's also nationally ranked, and they want to see you win a gritty match where you keep your composure and you beat them in the small positions, and you do all the right things correctly. So yeah, man, I think part of the reason why college recruiters don't really look at Georgia is because it's like half of our best guys are pinning in the state finals. So they're like, well, how tough is the field? So then you can't really get a good grasp on how good the guy really is. And, sometimes I think that hurts us. So, and man, actually, it's funny. I'll mention one more thing here before we hop off. But I'm actually running the Club Lucha program at Life University. So I'm the youth coach. So I'm literally trying to build our program. I want us to be every bit as big as Morris Fitness and Roundtree and all the other clubs in the state. So, that's my number one goal right now. But so I've gotten in contact with these guys from a promotion called War Wrestling. They threw the Backyard Brawl in the Category 5 duels, and they want to try to put something together for Club Lucha over the summer. What I want to really do with those guys is try to expand bigger than just myself, right? I mean, a Club Lucha tournament would be fantastic, but part of what I pitched to them the last time we spoke was exactly what you just brought up. I was like, hey, man, what if we could kind of combine like maybe the best athletes from the Backyard Brawl, the best ones from the Category 5, the best ones from this place, the best ones from that place, and create like a real who's number one, like the who's of who lives in Georgia. Man, I think that would be awesome. But yeah, man, we definitely got to get back on a podcast, and we definitely got to hit up the Southeast Wrestle guy to get involved with that. I feel like a lot of us have the same idea, but we all need to kind of sit in the same room and nail down like the logistics of it. Because, dude, I think this can be the biggest thing ever in Georgia.
I think the way to make it work, and this is just spit like we spitballed, right? Jason, SE Wrestle, Luca da Silva, he
Lucas is my guy,
dude. He's awesome, man. I don't know if he's still at Emmanuel or not, but he was down there last year.
Yeah, I think he's doing jiu-jitsu now. That's what I'm seeing.
He's a pro wrestler from what I can tell.
Yeah, right, and pro wrestling too. Yep, he's got the personality for it, bro.
Oh, he absolutely does, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the way to make it work, and the reason I brought it up to you was Life University is like centrally located.
Very.
Right?
Yeah.
And like to try to put it on at like Mercedes-Benz, or something like that.
That's kind of tough.
Would be so expensive, right?
Yeah.
And like the World Congress Center, I don't know if you remember, like Southeast Regional used to be there, and dude, it was so expensive.
I know.
So what's a scenario that could be keep the cost down, be centrally located?
Mm-hmm.
It's really right there at Life University. And by doing it at Life University, now the university is going to be like, well, what do we get out of this? Well, I mean, you're going to get the ticket sales and
the gate and concessions, right, things like that.
And you're going to get the promotion from it that it's at Life University. And on top of that, as Coach Acosta, he's going to walk around talking to all those kids.
Yeah, we recruit everybody. That's right.
So like
that's right.
Kind of like to turn that down would almost be ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So like if you set a date, like this year, the state tournament, and the only reason I know this is because they sent us a schedule the other day for high school. The GHSA state tournament is on February 20th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you ran this tournament, at state, what are you up to? 3 pounds? I think you got a 3 pound allowance at state.
Yeah. Plus 3
or something. Yeah. So say this. All right. So like I think day one, we're just going to use 106, right? It's really, I think day one's 109, right? I think it is. And then 110 and then 111. So it ends up being 111 on the 22nd, right, of February. So that ends up being like a 5 pound allowance.
Yep.
So I suggest give a 7 pound allowance, right? This is my suggestion. So 106 would be, 113, right? 113 would be, 120, whatever. And you get this 7-pound allowance, and it happens 2 weeks after the state tournament.
Yep, because you're still in shape. You haven't really gotten off it yet. Yep.
So it gives you 2 weeks to get in a room, stay in a room, for 2 more weeks. And the guys, and everybody should be doing that anyway, by the way, if you're a wrestler.
For sure. Especially if you plan on wrestling freestyle Greco. Come on.
Yeah, like you got to stay in there. But like the guys that would get chosen for that would be the state champions at every weight, right? And then maybe the alternative second place guys. And I think you sit down with, USA Wrestling and Team Georgia. We're going to cut GHSA out of this.
That's right, bro. They can go kick rocks.
Yeah. So you sit down with like USA Wrestling. You sit down with like Life University. You sit down with like guys like you. If you want to meet my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. I don't think it matters.
You can come on too, bro. We need that.
But like we'll get SE Wrestle, talk about he would know statistically guys that those guys beat like on national levels and stuff like that. So you kind of get a committee of like 8 or 10 people that have some knowledge, and you say, hey, I think this guy from here that that maybe he was a second place guy, but maybe he's better than the first place guy.
Right. Or maybe he's the guy available to compete.
Yeah, and then if you might have to have an alternative, right? You might have a guy, and I think that'll happen more than you think. I think guys will pull out because they're afraid to I just won state, whatever.
I think so too. Those second place guys are freaking hungry.
Yeah, they're like, what if I win this? I'll prove, So I think that event, and you could run it literally in a day, maybe 2. Right? So you're going 106 to 285, right? And you're basically having like 8-man brackets that you can wrestle in a day, right? Yep. So, and by doing that, not only are we proving like this is the top kid at this weight in the state of Georgia. This is the top, we're proving that to GHSA that you can run an 8-man bracket in one day.
Yeah, we've run 8-man brackets in a couple hours. Like, let's be real.
My point exactly. Bro,
come on.
This has been the most fun I've ever had, dude.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Khalil, bro, I've always admired what you do, and your Instagram and stuff, but now I consider you my buddy. And
thank you, man. Yeah, we friends, baby.
Yeah, and dude, this has been one of the funnest episodes I've done. I've been blessed to interview some cool people so far. Like this is episode 15. I didn't think I'd get this far.
They say the average podcast only got like 8 episodes. Man, you're ahead of most.
Dude, and I got like 11 more scheduled. Like I'll be doing another one in the morning. So
awesome.
But I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think it really because we relate so much, and the fact that we're both in the same state, so we know what is going on here.
Yeah, we know the landscape here.
But we need to do this again at some point. We'll sit down like during the season, like midway through the season this year or so. Maybe we'll hop back on. You give us an update what's going on with your senior year. Your Van Wilder senior year, and. And just like, okay, hey man, I'm 21-2 or whatever you are, and this is what's going on. Baby. So guys, episode 15 of the Bmoney Beastin Podcast. I was here with Khalil Shakur, one of the coolest dudes. Obviously, we just had a lot of fun just now, and we appreciate you tuning in. Episode 15 in the books.
Love it.